I get some information that some people is doing some boiling plastics activity, so I was curious. First of all is I saw a lot of plastic in the jumbo bag in the factory. I started to send a report to the authority, and gradually after 1 month we found another 5, another 7. So 3 months later it's total up to 17 already. And then another 2 months later it up to more than 30.
我的查某囝是真正健康的囡仔咯，了是2019年 start 起咯，3月一开始伊鼻讲敏感，然后流鼻甲嗽咯。第3道伊入楼的时，伊烧到40度，然后底下变准了噻，因为空气的问题导致伊看咯，就讲伊是 bronchitis 咯。
We noticed around about May 2019, there was more cases of respiratory problems. We realized that it was from those factories because they operated at night.
2年前这边的是海袂咩维持的啦，因为对什么垃圾污染啊，那是这个样食是无看到啦，因为基本上是知影嗰边有 plastic 啦，有啊，死我要拍人咯，你无拍样都维持咯，想要拍人了咯，规个地要拍人要卖人了，无人会食，价钱无人会食咯，无变咯，家己做咯，家己过去种的咯。
Okay, is this a fair trade? Is it compared to your concept of human right? Or this is a hypocrite method that you use more than 10 years, more than 20 years? Last time to China, now to us.
Very good afternoon, everyone. Just before we begin, just to let everyone know, today's webinar is on enhancing monitoring and enforcement efforts in Kedah and Penang. So before we begin, a few housekeeping announcements. This meeting is being streamed live on Facebook, so you can also watch it there. Kindly mute your audio until the panel segment. You can type your questions in the Zoom chat, and for viewers who are watching us on Facebook, you may type your questions on the comment section. Today's session has interpretation from Bahasa to English. So any participants who require translation from Bahasa to English, kindly use the interpretation tool. As you can see, there's an icon, a globe icon, and click on English. Okay, so a quick review of today's agenda. And moving on quickly, we'll just quickly run through all our presenters and panelists for today. Starting with our opening key note, it will be delivered by Cynthia Gabriel, the founding and executive director of C4 Center. So she will be giving an opening note, followed by a report presentation by Wong Pui Yi. Wong Pui Yi has actually published a report, Malaysia is not a garbage dump, Citizens Against Corruption, Complacency, Crime and Climate Crisis. So you can download her report from c4center.org if you're interested, but she will be presenting a summary of her findings and recommendations here today. After the report presentation, we'll move on straight to the panel session, which is moderated by Mageswari Sanggaralingam, Honorary Secretary of Sabah Alam, Malaysia. So she will moderate a panel of 4 panelists, and we are very honored to have our distinguished panels with us today, starting with YB Tuan P. Bunpo, who is the Penang State Executive Councillor for Environment and Welfare. That's our first panelist. Second on our panel is Puan Sharifah, Director of Department of Environment of Penang, who comes with a wealth of experience of over 20 years in Department of Environment. So welcome to Puan Sharifah. Third on the panel is Encik Ya, who is the head of branch from Department of Environment, Sungai Petani. So we have a representative from the enforcement team of the Department of Environment, both from Penang and Kedah here. So welcome to the two of them. And the final panelist with us today is Puan Lydia Ong, representing views from the community. So she's the former president of Persatuan Tindakan Alam Sekitar Sungai Petani. So after the panel session, you all may post your questions in the Zoom chat to the panelists, and Magis, as the moderator, will go through them with the panel. This panel session will go on to about 4:15, where we will close with a closing note from Meenakshi Ratman, President of Sabah Alam, Malaysia. So that's today's a quick roundup of today's speakers and panelists. So without further ado, let's begin today's event, and let's invite Cynthia Gabriel to deliver the opening remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sipeng, for those lovely introduction and a run through the program. And welcome to this very interesting forum called Malaysia is not a garbage dump, enhancing monitoring and enforcement efforts in Kedah and Penang. Well, we're supposed to be traveling north today, but given the crisis mainly in Selangor and the Klang Valley, we're doing it virtually, but we're very much with Penang and Penangites today, and also in Kedah, where as C4, my name is Cynthia Gabriel, by the way. I am the executive director of this group called the Center to Combat Corruption and Cronyism. It is very much a good governance group. We focus a lot on investigative reporting, calling out corruption, and trying very hard to promote accountability and transparency in government. So we first got into this subject very much because the community in Sungai Petani had alerted us of some very serious concerns around burning of plastics, air pollution, which was reaching very dangerous levels, and we weren't very sure what to do. So we started off as newbies, and we're very, very grateful for the cooperation of groups like Sahabat Alam Malaysia, who's doing this forum with us today. And they've been working on the issue of plastics for a very long time. And we're glad that we are able to collaborate, because while Sahabat Alam Malaysia, Greenpeace Malaysia, and several other groups have been working, advocating tirelessly on the issue of environmental protection, the one thing that C4 wanted to contribute very concretely was the whole issue of governance. Was there a real problem of governance in the whole issue of the sudden problem of plastics being brought into the country? So we didn't just have to deal with our own plastics and waste, but we were also getting imported plastics, mainly from developing countries. Some of us know the background. In 2018, there was a ban by China, and all of a sudden, Malaysia became the world's top destination for plastic waste exports, up to about 800,000 tons. And it came to various different places in our country. Some of them were tucked away in smaller towns. And we realized that it wasn't just Sungai Petani, the first set of complaints that came to us. And it came also from a group of doctors who were monitoring the air quality on a daily basis. We realized that our neighbors and communities in Selangor, in different parts of Penang, Kedah, were all affected. And we also realized that when enforcement efforts started to increase around Selangor, operators, some of them illegal, moved to Penang, moved to Kedah, Sungai Petani, different areas. And this is what we wanted to actually study, the illegality around the whole issue of the importing of plastic waste. Why were we suddenly becoming a garbage dump? So today, we're really, really happy that we have a fantastic panel before us. We have YBP Boon Po. He's been really vocal on many fronts. Already introduced as the State Exco representative of welfare and the environment. And I do hope the questions posed to YBP later on in the Q&A would be insightful, constructive, but not really damaging, because what we want to know and hear is also what is the Penang blueprint and plans for the future of the sustainable development of Penang and how it's going to impact on the environment. We also have DOE representatives and top experts from Penang, Sungai Petani, Puan Sharifah, and Encik Muhammad Nazir. So we're really extremely happy, because the last session we had with the Department of Environment, there were so many questions being asked, so many issues being put forward. So I really hope we'll have a great, interesting meeting. But I wanted to remind us that the objective today is also to look at, one, the damage of the environment, which is so obvious. But the other is to look at governance issues around state and federal issues. Is there an issue of coordination in actually stemming the problem of imports of plastic waste? Or is there an issue of collusion also between different departments? Where is it that we need to place the emphasis? And how can we make this whole issue a lot more transparent and accountable, so that the people affected can actually have some kind of confidence in the system that there would be a seriousness in actually tackling the problem? And I do believe DOE has done a lot, but are we really addressing the root cause of the problem? So I think these are the important issues that we want to discuss today. And in conclusion, I am also alerted by my colleagues that today is Earth Overshoot Day. Now this is interesting. When we picked the date, we weren't really so connected with this fact. But today, July 29th, is Earth Overshoot Day, and it's a day which is recognized internationally, started by this group called the Global Footprint Network. And it's basically about humanity's demand for ecological resources and services, that it does not exceed what the Earth can generate, how we can protect it better, and how COVID, for example, the pandemic has actually impacted on a lot of what we're going to say today. So without further ado, I really hope we're going to have a very interesting afternoon. And I want to thank everyone that has put a lot of work into getting this forum together and a very good panel together. And let's have a very good discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Cynthia. Hello, everyone. My name is Pui, and I will now jump straight in by doing a quick presentation on my findings. And then after that, I will pass on to Ms. Mages, our moderator, who will introduce our first speaker, who's ready, YVP over there. Okay, so please allow me to share my slides first. Can everyone see my slides fine? It's okay? Okay, I'm just going to jump straight into it. It would have been nice to have done this live, but unfortunately we can't. Okay, oops. Okay, so I will just jump into it. Just now, Cynthia already gave a quick introduction on why we started on this research. So in orange, you can see my title of my report. And this is my report and also another policy brief. As we go along the way, we will develop more output. So please keep an eye on our website over there, c4center.org. In a nutshell, these are the chapters in my report. I touched on what impacts the plastic waste caused as they came into Malaysia, what the government did. The government did a lot. There was a lot of policy, a lot of regulations, a lot of coordination and enforcement to be done. I looked at particularly what happened in the ports and in terms of import permits, and at factories in terms of enforcement and also licensing, and also in terms of waste disposal. And then in chapter 5, as I was doing my research, we find that there's a lot of other issues. The issues arising from this plastic crisis is not unique. It's a long-standing problem in Malaysia. So chapter 5 summarizes it, and chapter 6 ties everything up. We have a shared prosperity vision. So now we need to talk about whose responsibility is it to ensure that prosperity is shared. First, as you see on my front page just now, there's a wonderful paddy field. I saw it in between the drive between Sungai Petani and Penang while doing my field research. So I thought I would I'll bring you around Malaysia for a quick visit since we're all stuck at home. So I would like to bring you around Malaysia to show you what I saw when I went around Malaysia. So these pictures were taken from end 2019 until 2020 and some in 2021, early 2021. So I'm just going to go through these slides in silence so that you all can have a look at the pictures. All right, so okay, all these that I've shown you is also up on our social media, C4 Center social media. So if you would like to have a look at it, you can go back there. This summarizes my research and my findings, but let me go a little bit deeper into some of the key concepts. This article was released 30th June 2021 by Australia. So Australia did a very good step. They announced that they would ban the export of plastic waste. If you look at the quotes on the left taken from this article, but questionably, they have not outright said that they will ban something called refuse-derived fuel, which is waste packaged into pellets to be burned as fuel. And then if you look at the last last quote on the left, quotes from plastics industry players as well as government officials in Australia. And someone said that if the government doesn't allow the export of sorted waste, it will go to the landfill in Australia, or it will be dangerously stockpiled in Australia, which creates a fire risk. After seeing all the photos just now, to see a quote like this coming from Australia and to see it being landfilled, stockpiled, dumped in Malaysia, you really can't blame Malaysians for being angry at this. And so the title of my research is called Citizens Against Corruption, Complacency, Crime and Climate Crisis. When I say citizens, I mean NGOs, community groups, government officials, and businesses that are trying to do business properly. I've spoken to some of them, yes. These problems that were created affects all of us who want to do things properly. So how do we do things properly? We will see as we go along. Despite implementing one of the best efforts in the region by our Department of Environment, it's award-winning to tackle this plastic waste problem, loopholes still exist. As long as loopholes exist, unscrupulous individuals or entities will exploit them. As you can see in the titles of these articles, I drew the inspiration from statements from the Malaysian government to title my report. I think it's a very strong statement that Malaysia doesn't want to be a garbage dump. Malaysia is not a garbage dump. And so some people would say that you need economies of scale. It's a business, this trade of materials, this material recovery business. But in the end, when you look at the impacts it has on communities, I don't know whether it's an economic issue or it's an issue of injustice. That's what we need to discuss. Just some quick statistics here. You can see that in terms of tons, the tonnage of plastic waste that came into Malaysia in 2018 increased a lot, and most of the countries are all Western countries, all developed countries who have better means of managing their waste, but then they send it here. 2019 enforcement efforts caused the tonnage to drop a lot. 2020 it increased again. Now we are in 2021. The Basel Convention plastic amendments have come into force. There are more strict rules regulating the transportation and the trade of plastic waste. So I heard that a lot of individuals have given up on trying to smuggle the trade, but let's see by the end of 2021 how it goes. And this is a quick overview in 2020, the different countries that are exporting waste to Malaysia. So Australia is not the only country. A lot of it comes from the United States. So these are quickly objectives of my research. How did the plastic waste come in? What are the roles played by the government? What are the weaknesses in the frameworks? And so we are a good governance group, going back to the principles of good governance. We've been saying this. I think all good governance groups globally continue to say this. These are very, very important. Firstly, for business, to do business, you need rules and regulations that are clear and stable. You need to know what to do, that you're not always expected to hand over money under the table. But not only for business, but this is also very important. As we can see, it's very important for our environmental health and for our people's health. And I would also like to introduce, not so much introduce, but rather frame my research in terms of the right to a safe, clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. As we've been talking about COVID, where COVID-19, where the virus came from. It's a zoonotic disease. We've been talking about climate change, COVID-19, climate change. These are two major issues that humanity has to deal with in the 21st century. And a lot of it boils down to maintaining a healthy environment. So this human right is becoming increasingly important. And all the procedural, all the procedures on the procedural rules on the site helps to ensure that this human right is protected and promoted. Freedom of information, accountability, capable public service, good laws, and very importantly, the participation of local communities. So this is my finding in a nutshell. We can see that a lot of people have done a lot of good, but there are issues of corruption, there are issues of complacency among regulators, businesses, and even the everyday person. If we see things burning and we don't report it, that is complacency. In the end, corruption causes weak enforcement and a lack of oversight mechanism, and it also is a consequence of corruption. So, and then it allows crime to happen. And in the end, it will exacerbate the climate crisis. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through all these one by one, but we will share the slides later and you can have a look. So my recommendations, a lot of it is regulatory, legal recommendations that civil society groups have been pushing, advocating with the government for a long time. And we need the public to gather behind us. And I hope this issue can highlight how important these things are. The National Anti-Corruption Plan, everyone should read it. It highlights, this is the National Anti-Corruption Plan introduced in 2019 by the federal government. Then it highlights all the major issues with institutions in Malaysia and how to move forward, how to improve. Right to Information Act would ensure that we can apply to the government and say that we would like a certain information, for example, whether this factory has an import permit, how much plastic waste is it allowed to import, is it allowed to even process foreign waste. If communities have information like this, they would be able to make more informed reports of wrongdoing to the right channels. So firstly, they would need to know the regulations. Secondly, they would need to know which channel to report to. So transparency and accountability is very important to empower local communities to essentially help the government, because a lot of common reasons given is that there's not enough manpower for law enforcement. And that really is true. You can't sit there by the river 24 hours a day to watch and make sure no one dumps in the river. It's very, very hard to catch people who is intentionally evading the law. So we really need the public to be eyes and ears of the government, and we really need the government to be transparent and inclusive in order to work together with the public. There are several other important areas that we need to talk about, like local government accountability. How do we ensure that people do their jobs well? We institute processes and procedures that will allow us to hold them accountable. For example, local government elections. I'm very grateful to everyone who accepted my request for interviews, state government representatives, politicians, federal government officers, but I did not land a single interview with any local government officer, nor any local councillor. So I think empowerment of local government is very important in issues of anti-corruption and environmental protection. For crime, it's the same thing, increasing penalties, and everything will help us mitigate climate change better and also recover from COVID-19 better in time. Here are some quick anecdotes about how corruption is an issue in Malaysia. We're not just blaming the people who accept bribes. the fault is not just on them, the fault also lies in those who give bribes. So how do we institute mechanisms, oversight mechanisms? We can't tell people to have integrity, but we can have laws and procedures and regulations that will make sure that they have less space to be corrupt. And here are a lot of allegations of wrongdoing that I gathered as I went around researching this topic. I only focus on Selangor, Penang, and Kedah because these are main areas where the civil society groups are very active. But as you can see in our infographics just now, the plastic waste illegal facilities are in every single state of Peninsular Malaysia, except these are reported in the media, except Perlis, Terengganu, and Malacca. The other states all have it, and are all facing the effects of the pollution by these illegal operators. Complacency is enabled by a very complex regulatory framework as well, not just a lack of transparency, but also a lot of regulations, or in fact, lack of a regulatory framework, because before this crisis exploded, before China banned the plastic waste, we didn't have so much plastic waste coming into Malaysia. So the regulations surrounding it wasn't ready for such a massive volume. Here we traced out the value chain just to give you an idea of how complex it is in terms of regulatory framework and also in terms of who has the power to do what. There are a lot of collaboration required between government agencies, and if all these are on our website, if you just trace the value chain from the beginning and then you just follow the arrows, you can see these are the laws. These are the laws, and in maroon, these are the agencies who are needed to handle all these areas. And this is not the full picture even. We haven't even included the fire department, the police force, the immigration department for foreign labor, and everything. So it's a very complex framework that enforcement agencies have to deal with, and the public needs to understand it if in order to be better informed. And what was worse was that we know that all this criminality was happening because of gangsterism. In fact, the waste management body, SW Corp in Malaysia, has openly said that when they try to investigate illegal dump sites, they have been threatened by gangsters. So gangsterism is another problem in Malaysia. And this also boils back to law enforcement. Our activists have received threats. They have somewhat gotten beaten up, for example. So here is, in the last example here, is an example of factory owners. So when they are all in an industrial area together, all the businesses, when one factory is burning without proper controls, air pollution controls, it will definitely affect the factories around them. And so this factory owner posted on Facebook that his neighbor was doing something improper and he got beaten up. So this is not really community versus business, community versus government, but rather law-abiding citizens versus law-evading citizens. And you can see here, even Greenpeace, when they were conducting their investigation, they got threatened too. And all this, of course, exacerbates climate change, because we know that plastics trunk the value chain, the supply chain, the production from oil and gas onwards to waste disposal. Plastics has an impact on the climate. So what are we going to do about it? So here's a summary of my key recommendations. Something that I haven't mentioned yet, but it's here. Whistleblower protection is one of the key areas of advocacy that C4 Center works on. Whistleblowers are uniquely positioned to observe corrupt activities, not just corrupt, improper activities, any wrongdoing. And they provide very valuable information for law enforcement. So we really need to strengthen the Whistleblower Protection Act and publicize information about it. How can you be a whistleblower? Particularly people who are working within factories who are committing crime. That's a very important resource that we haven't tapped into yet. This is a summary of the rationale of all my recommendations. And this is it. Very simple. it's not rocket science, but it takes a lot of political will to enact and enforce, and it takes a lot of public pressure too. So the steps are all here. We know what to do. We know the consequences of not doing it. So hopefully this forum is one of the steps towards better collaboration and enforcement towards better governance. Thank you. And now I would like to, there's a fire, illegal plastic waste factory on fire. And you can check us out on our social media, C4 Center. And now I would like to pass the floor to Ms. Mageswari from Sahabat Alam Malaysia. Sahabat Alam Malaysia is an environmental group who has done a lot of good work for many years. On to you, Mages.
Okay, thank you, Puyi. Thank you very much for sharing your report and highlighting all this, the recommendations also. So because we are running short of time, we'd like to first thank all our panelists who have taken their time off from a very busy schedule to share their experiences with us at this online forum today. First of all, we will have YB Tuan P. Boon Ho, Penang State Executive Councillor for Environment and Welfare. He will be sharing with us on the role of the state government in addressing the plastic waste crisis. Please go ahead, YB. You have 10 minutes, yeah, to present your deliberations on this issue.
YB, you're muted.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ms. Mageswari, Ms. Cynthia Gabel, Ms. Wong Puyi, my fellow panelists, Puan Sharifah from DOE Penang, Tuan Muhammad Nazil, the head of branch DOE Sungai Petani, my former ex-colleagues Puan or Dato Lydia Ong. Good afternoon to everybody who are present here today. First, I must say thank you to C4 for arranging this forum, which is Malaysia is not a garbage dump, enhancing monitoring and enforcement efforts in Kedah and Penang, coordinated by C4 Center and also Sahabat Alam. I mean, this is timely, and this is something which we need to do very, very urgently. I'd like to thank we have hit the nails on the head. You have gone everything into detail, and it's very, very clear. So I will not waste time to talk about the environment forms, but more to what we have got to do. Now, today's good governance and environment protection is something which is so important. Without good and open governance, the environment becomes so conducive for the lack of integrity, transparency, accountability, and weakening the rules of law and the destruction of environment, environment crimes such as dumping, waste and chemicals, and this is seriously harming our health, well-being, and for the next generations and generations yet unborn. As an EXCO for environment, my role is to damage control what have been damaged and to protect the future, especially the climate emergency in promoting sustainable development goals and assuring full cooperation with other state governments, agencies, federal, states, and our policy towards imported waste recycling and enforcement of Surat Berkeling 9/99 by the Kementerian Perumahan dan Kerajaan Tempatan or KPKT. Any federal policy must be made in consultation with the states, as we are the one on the grounds, and together with the local government, for example, the approval of permits this for waste processing, which must be given upon consultation and consensus with the local councils. Of course, I'm proud to hear the reports from Puyi that there was a drop in 2019. Because 2018, we are able to enforce what we are screaming, crying out loud since 2016 and 2017, when there are so much importation of this waste and illegal processing up in Port Klang. We know it will always spread to Penang and the northern region. So 2018, by this August, October, we compile all these things, we give it to the Minister of Environment, and she help us and start to enforce. So that's a reason why there's a big drops in 2019. And we have proven beyond benefit of doubts that if we are sincere and if we are able to work together in all the agencies, there will be a big drops. We have also sent a letter to the Minister of Environment, terms and conditions before any AP can be issued. We have done that, and we hope that it can be absorbed. And we have the mechanism which is so clear-cut that we will destroy all environment that is so conducive for lack of transparency, accountability. This is what we are doing. Our way forward, we have launched the Penang Green Agenda 2030 with aims of realizing the SGD. Our agenda is in alignment with the principles of good governance laid out in the SDG 16 of promoting just and peaceful, conducive society, especially the target related to 16.5, the eradication of corruption, 16.6, the accountable and the transparency of the institutions, 16.7, participatory in decision makings, and 16.10, protecting the freedom and access to information. First, about the plastic import and recycling, our plan, we have got to develop effective accountability, transparency institution at all levels, which means that not only at our state, not only at the federal, but even at the exporting country, we have got to regulate and make sure and ensure Basel Convention is being respected. So which means the country of exports, they must give us a letter, a commitments that this container itself are goods which is clean. And if any problems at the receiving end, we reserve the right to return the containers to the country of origin. Because when 2020, when we started wanted to re-export back to the country of origin, they says no, it is waste. You cannot export to a country. Our argument was it was from your country, and we managed to settle this case. So that's why it's 2020 and 2021 we sent back so many of these containers. And there, I mean, because of time limitations, there are a lot of procedures which we need to follow. Now, how to enhance better participatory is we talk about joint operation. When you talk about joint operations, I must salute the Department of Environment, Penang, who have been so hardworking, so transparent, until even their officers have been treated, even their car burned, arson. But that does not shatter us, that does not fear us, and we continue to work. And they have worked 24, or which is that sometimes say 24/7, 365. This is the commitments of the JES in Penang, and I'm proud of them. And I would like to say, I would like to end this by saying to JES and other agencies, Penang State fully subscribed to the Rio de Janeiro Declarations 1992 and the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development at the Earth Summit. We talk about 4 pillars. Yes, people talk about economy, but economy cannot forsake environment. Economy and environment must benefit the stakeholder. The state as an institution will have got to stand firm, not to break any law, not to bend the law, but to facilitate everybody in respect of the law. Everybody must be protected, especially we talk about the whistleblower. And I'm very sure when you talk about political strength, political commitments, the next government will hold the talk. As we have said that, you have to see that we are the first state in Penang to ban free plastic bag, to ban polystyrene. And we are the state who have taken the most action against so-called illegal factories processing this so-called plastic waste. We don't compromise because all of us have family, we have all children, and I'm sure all of us will have grandchildren. I have two. So on this note, the state alone cannot achieve. We need you, the general public, as stakeholder, to work together and to protect the environment, our future, and for the sake of the state, the country, and this planet. There's only one Earth, the Mother Earth. If we can share the same sunlight, the same energy, Why can't we share the same feelings, the same emotions, and love this earth and make it a better place for our children and grandchildren to come? Thank you.
Thank you very much, YB, for keeping time. Yes, and also sharing in terms of the policy and action plan of the state, in curbing the problems related to waste recycling. And as you rightly mentioned, the DOE of Penang, Department of Environment of Penang, have been taking a lot of actions, and we have seen announcements in the media that they are sending back containers of waste to origin countries. Yeah. Okay, so we would like to hear more from Puan Sharifah Zakia Said Sahab, the Director of Penang Department of Environment, Jabatan Alam Sekitar Pulau Pinang. She'll be sharing with us some of the her experience in addressing in-country waste at the ports, their inspection, and also dealing with abandoned containers. Please go ahead, Puan Sharifah.
My presentation is with you, right? I mean, you're going to show it. The presentation. The slide. Are you going to share with us, for my guest?
Yes, we're sharing. Deva, please go.
Okay, just give me a few minutes. I'll put it up.
I'll just start. First of all, I would like to thank C4 and also Sam for organizing this forum, and also, of course, my appreciation to YBP, for also joining this forum and has been supporting DOE Penang for all this while. And I trust that we are in the same path for making Penang a green state. Yeah. And I have to, I must also explain that my encounter with illegal importation and issues related to waste was not only in Penang. I started when I was in Johor, because Johor also have a few ports as well as CIQs. Yeah, so that is where I started my first experience dealing with illegal importation. Anyway, today, can you move to the next page? Okay, for today, I will just do some brief introduction on the Vessel Convention, the role of DOE as focal point and also competent authority, procedures for enforcement, statistics of repatriation by DOE Penang, and also the challenges and way forward. Okay, next. Okay, I think most of you already familiar with Vessel Convention. It's an international treaty designed to prevent transfer of hazardous waste from developed to less developed countries or developing countries. And the principle of Vessel is very clear that every party has to manage their own waste in an environmental sound manner. Yeah. So if a country wants to export their waste, there must be a valid reason for that. For example, because they don't have a facility to process their waste. So that is only that is the condition. Yeah, there are several conditions where they have to adhere, and if they want to export, there are procedures that they have to follow. Okay, where they have to get the prior informed consent from the receiving country as well as the transit countries. And looking back at the history, Malaysia has ratified the convention on 8 October 1993, and also the implementation came into force on 6 January 1994. Next. So in terms of next, so in terms of duties, if you talk about DOE headquarters, their tasks are more related to the management or administration of the Vessel Convention itself, meaning that the communication, attending meetings, transforming policies into regulations. So those are the roles of DOE headquarters. Whereas for the state office, we are more on the enforcement part, yeah, inspection, and also the notice to ask them to send back the container. That is all done by the state office. Okay. So DOE is the focal point, yeah, in Malaysia. And in terms of competent authority, what is meant by competent authority? Meaning that we are the government authority responsible for implementation of vessel convention, such as the notice for prior informed consent, repatriation, and also illegal traffic notification. So when we receive something from another country without prior informed consent, then it is our job to inform the country of origin that we receive this waste. Okay, next. Okay, this is the procedures. Now, I will also cover the issue of schedule waste, yeah, because schedule waste is directly under the responsibility of DOE. Okay, so everything will start with the custom declaration, where the custom will inspect whether they have declaration, and if they suspect that it is schedule waste, they will inform DOE, and we will do joint inspection here with custom, and if it's confirmed it is schedule waste, we will then issue notice, yeah, for the importer to send back the waste to the country of origin as per Basel procedures. Okay, and they have to comply with this requirement. If they don't follow with, if they don't comply with this directive, then we can investigate them under Section 34B, Environmental Quality Act, with the maximum penalty of 500,000 and also 5 years mandatory imprisonment. Yeah. Okay, but if they comply to the directive, they can send it back the waste. Okay, and there are issues related to. I know that some people ask, why can't you take action? But because if we don't give them opportunity, there are several risks that we have to take when we seize the waste, because we need area to keep the waste, and then there are costs related to it. And if we fail to prove that they are guilty, we will have to manage everything, all the waste for disposal and all that. So sometimes it will incur huge amount of money to do that. So that's why we always prioritize by trying to ask them to send back. Okay. Okay. So if nothing wrong, of course the customer will release it to the importer. Yeah. Okay. Next. And this is the procedure for plastic. Okay. Also, it will start with the Royal Custom Department, where they will check on the declaration. So, if everything is okay, it will be released to the importer. Yeah, COA means condition of approval. But if there are issues with the permit, for example, there is wrong declaration, so there is no permit, then it will be they will notify DOE to take action. And the same thing, if there is no import permit, still it will be given to us to take action. So we will issue notice, to repatriate the material to the country of origin or other countries that wants to accept the waste. Okay. Next. And this is the data for on the repatriation of containers from NBCT from year 2008, 2018 to 2021. So you can see that generally you can see the trend. Yeah, I think probably higher in 2019 and also 2020, but in 2021 we also have containers related to newspapers. So recently we published this story, or we highlight the story in newspapers also, because we want to make sure that the public are aware of the situation. Okay, because if we encounter some cases and we don't inform public through papers, for example, I think most people probably not realize. They don't realize there are cases related to illegal importation, and also they don't realize what are the implications of having imported waste coming into the country. Okay, next. Okay, dealing with abandoned containers and also difficulties of repatriation. Yeah. So from our experience, there are 4 major difficulties. Number one, the importers, they will always try to obtain approvals or use other mechanism to release their container after arrival at the port. So of course there are many ways that they can do or try to obtain approval, but so far in terms of approval at the state level, we don't give any approval. So our job is only to inspect. So if they want to get any approval or deal with anything related to approval, they have to communicate with our headquarters. So I think that is one of the steps where we can control. Okay. And then accumulated port charges to be borne first by the shipping liners. Yeah. So maybe this will give burden to the shipping liners, because they have to pay first before they can claim from the importer for the cost of detention. Yeah. And then number 3, always as we mentioned just now, usually the country will try not to accept the waste back, so they will demand for proof, documents, and always try to argue that probably something had happened during the shipment. So things like this, because nobody wants to take back their waste. And also there are difficulty when dealing with containers from non-party countries, for example USA. So that's why in our directive, usually we will ask them to send back not only to the origin country, but they can also send to other countries. But of course, they have to obtain prior informed consent for sending it to somewhere else. Yeah. Okay, next. So these are the impact on environment, due to illegal importation of waste. Because as you know, when things are imported without documents, it is very difficult for you to control the destination. So it may go to illegal premises. So when illegal premises are processing this waste, without proper control, it may cause pollution. It may cause open burning. Yeah, and for example, plastic, it can release toxic gases, toxic leachates, to river and also groundwater pollution. For example, due to heavy metals such as lead and mercury. And for plastic waste, almost the same thing, illegal premises, going to illegal premises and without pollution control, because we have to realize that no illegal premises cannot operate without the raw material. Okay. And not all plastic are recyclable. So even though you import it, this is applicable to even the waste plastics that are imported legally. So not all plastic, it will not 100% be recyclable. So this is something that we need to be aware of, because we do not want our landfill to be later filled with waste from other countries. Yeah. And then open burning will cause release of dioxin and furan, and also the high water source demand and electricity for related to plastic waste. Because for plastic waste, they need to clean it first using huge amount of water, and it also use a huge amount of electricity. So it's a very high energy demanding, high demand on energy for their production. Okay, next. Next. Okay. So related to other waste streams, as you know, I think in the introduction also we talk about this. Beginning 1st January 2021, China has banned all imports of solid waste into their country, including paper waste. So this caused the illegal imports of paper waste being redirected to other countries, including our country, by Chinese invested companies. Okay, and just now I talk about the high water usage. So this is an example of how much water will be used per ton of paper waste. So that's a lot of water, and subsequently it will also generate high volume of industrial effluent, which may pollute the local water streams if it's done illegally or without proper control. Okay, next. Okay, way forward. I think this is something that of course very important for me to highlight also to the state government, especially YBP is here now with us in the forum. So I think for way forward, we need to look at our existing policy on recycling facilities of imported waste. Do we want to have this? Do we want to continue having this, even for the legal ones? Of course, illegal ones, there is no question about it. It cannot be done, and we have to take action. But what about the imported waste? For the legally imported waste, we still also want to allow this to happen, because it still use our own. It will still use our water resources, and also discharge effluent, adding effluent to our rivers. And at national level, this is another question that we want to discuss, whether should we ban on imports of waste, just like some other countries, for example, even China has done this. So perhaps this is a better way to deal with all the issues related to illegal importation and also the pollution caused by imported waste. And at community level, I think we should be trying to increase the rate of recycling in Malaysia. But of course, this is still in progress. And I know that lots of campaigns have been done, even on plastic, on paper. But whether we have achieved our target or not, I think this is something that we need to look at it seriously. Okay. I think that's all, Puan Magesh.
Okay, thank you very much, Puan Sharifa. So we really like the way forward at national level. Some of the recommendations for banning on imports of waste like China, because that is what the NGOs and communities are calling for. Yeah, because the picture that you showed in terms of the impacts of waste trade on the environment, these were the pictures that we had seen in China before, and it also led to China taking strict measures to stop imports of waste. So now we would like to hear from Encik Ya, who is the head of branch of Department of Environment in Sungai Petani, because we have heard a lot of problems, pollution, being the complaints from communities, and So he will be talking to us about the challenges of monitoring and enforcement in Sungai Petani, and also some of the enforcement operations that they have undertaken. So over to you, Cik Ya.
Okay, thank you, Miss Moderator Mageshwari from Sahabat Malaysia, Sahabat Alam Malaysia. I would like to thank to C4, especially to Wong Puyi for inviting me for this event, for this forum. So I think I have some slides. I want to share it here. Okay, can you all see the slide?
Yes, Cik Ya, if you want to speak in Malay, it's also fine because we have interpretation, yeah, from Malay.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I will be mixed with Malay also. Okay.
Thank you.
I have few slide here. Apa ni, Wong Puyi dia ajak saya. Dia tanya boleh tak saya untuk bagi forum ini. Saya pun okey sajalah. Cuma what is the scope? Saya nak tahu juga scope dia. So she want to know about what is the challenges in Sungai Petani, environmental laws, of the enforcement and monitoring and all of that, cooperation between agencies, and also the community and some of the cases lah. So bila kita tengok balik sebenarnya, saya tekan. Okay, bab kata pepatah tak kenal maka tak cinta. Jadi kita tengok sebenarnya apa sebenarnya fungsi Jabatan Alam Sekitar. Jadi Jabatan Alam Sekitar ni sebenarnya berfungsi untuk menguatkuasakan Akta Kualiti Alam Sekeliling 1974. Apa yang ada dalam ini sahaja dan bukan di luarnya. Jadi yang itu first kali yang kena pegang lah. Jabatan Alam Sekitar Cawangan Sungai Petani, nama saja Cawangan Sungai Petani, tapi kawasan operasi kami adalah di 3 buah daerah. Daerah Kuala Muda yang terletaknya mukim Sungai Petani ini, dan juga daerah Yan di utara sikit dan juga di timur sikit daerah Sik. 3 buah daerah. Jadi dalam Jabatan Alam Sekitar Sungai Petani ini, nampak macam besar, 3 buah daerah, kami ada 11 orang staf. Dan daripada 11 orang staf ini, 2 adalah pentadbiran, administratif lah. Dan lagi 9 orang ialah yang teknikal lah, yang memang buat kerja turun ke kilang, turun ke lapangan, ini lagi 9 orang. Jadi sebenarnya kalau tengok peta negeri Kedah ini, dan kawasan jagaan kami adalah yang berwarna merah ini. Kuala Muda, Yan dan Sik. Yang ini adalah kawasan yang mana intens kawasan industri. Banyak kawasan industri di situ. Dan juga berlaku limpahan-limpahan industri daripada negeri yang membangun seperti Pulau Pinang. Jadi itu yang ada banyak industri di Sungai Petani dan juga di kawasan Kulim. Okey, saya seterusnya. Bila kita tengok sebenarnya apa sebenarnya cabaran-cabaran yang ada di Jabatan Alam Sekitar Sungai Petani ini. Ini yang sebenarnya Miss Wong yang tahu sebenarnya apa sebenarnya cabaran Sungai Petani ini. Okey, sebenarnya dalam forum ni saya nak ceritalah sebenarnya. First kali cabaran di Sungai Petani ini adalah staf kami. Staf kami ada 11 orang. Sebenarnya 9 orang lah technical staff yang menjaga 3 buah daerah. Dan 3 buah daerah ni sebenarnya besar dan merangkumi punca. We call it point sources. Point sources, punca. Point sources yang ada kalau di sekitar 3 buah daerah ni ada 1000 lebih punca. 1000 lebih maksudnya bukan sahaja kilang dan industri, termasuk juga punca-punca yang menyebabkan pencemaran yang lain. Punca yang bukan industri, contohnya loji kumbahan, tapak pelepasan sampah, semuanya tertakluk di bawah akta tadi. Saya sebut Akta Kualiti Alam Sekeliling. Tertakluk juga. Klinik, hospital, dia menghasilkan buangan contohnya clinical waste yang perlu diuruskan mengikut akta kami juga. Contoh lagi bengkel-bengkel. Ini adalah punca-punca bukan industri yang tertakluk bawah akta. Jadi total semua ini ada 1000 lebih. Jadi kami yang ada ni 9 orang. Jadi bayangkanlah itu sebenarnya sangat tidak balance lah. Ada juga cabaran-cabaran yang lain. Contohnya kelicikan pesalah alam sekitar. Seperti mana yang kita tahu, orang yang buat salah ni dia sentiasa mencari loophole yang ada. Sama ada loophole dalam enforcement ataupun loophole di dalam akta sendiri. Jadi ini perkara yang kena kita tackle jugalah. Dan yang paling penting sekali bila kita bercakap dengan masyarakat, public awareness tu sangat penting, itu betul. Tapi the understanding from the public is also important. Kalau kita tengok, public kebanyakannya, dia saya faham sebab tak semua public tahu bidang kuasa antara agensi. Different agency have different powers, different laws, different act. So contohlah kita sebut dalam forum ini adalah garbage dump, mostly of plastic lah. Bila kita cerita plastik, plastic is a solid waste, sisa pepejal. Sisa pepejal sebenarnya adalah dikawal di bawah Akta 672. Di dalam Malaysia lah, locally kalau kita tengok Akta 672 ni, akta apa? Akta Pengurusan Sisa Pepejal dan Pembersihan Awam. Ini akta yang govern untuk sisa pepejal. Jadi kalau sebenarnya apa yang kita perlu tahu adalah bukan semua pencemaran, kita cerita pencemaran, bukan semua pencemaran di bawah Jabatan Alam Sekitar sahaja, tidak. Jadi kita tengok punca pencemaran itu daripada mana, and then baru kita tahu, oh yang ni di bawah agensi ini. Contohlah, saya bagi contoh yang lain. Ada pencemaran yang sangat banyak komplain di Sungai Petani melibatkan penggunaan racun makhluk perosak, pesticide, di sebuah ladang cili lah. Bila orang duk komplain, rupanya kita ada akta yang govern that pesticide. Akta Racun Makhluk Perosak 1974. Yang mengawalnya adalah Jabatan Pertanian. Maksudnya Jabatan Alam Sekitar tidak ada kuasa di bawah Akta Kualiti Alam Sekeliling untuk mengawal racun makhluk perosak tu. Walaupun dia mencemarkan sampai ke penduduk. Contohnya macam tu. Kita tengok punca. Kalau ada pencemaran yang melibatkan penggunaan baja di tanah-tanah pertanian sehingga menyebabkan pencemaran sungai, itu bawah Jabatan Pertanian. Kalau berlaku di bawah penternakan, di bawah veterina. Yang ini yang sebenarnya perlu diterapkan pada masyarakat, bukan semua lah. Okey, bila kita tengok yang seterusnya, penggunaan istilah yang betul. Sebenarnya, bila saya duduk di Sungai Petani ini sejak 2019 waktu tu tengah hot cerita pasal recycling waste di Sungai Petani. Plastik waste sangat banyak. Tapi aduan yang masuk, kilang membakar plastik, kilang recycle plastik ni, public punya persepsi atau istilah yang digunakan adalah membakar plastik. Membakar ini maksudnya kita ambil plastik, kita cucuh. Tapi itu bukan sebenarnya apa yang berlaku di dalam recycling factory. Recycling factory dia melting plastik menggunakan heat dan mencairkan plastik, bukan dengan cara membakar. Membakar ialah cucuh, kombas lah. Jadi beza dengan melting plastik. Nanti saya akan cerita ada satu kes lah sebenarnya berkaitan benda ni sebenarnya. Dan seterusnya kalau kita tengok ada maklumat yang atau aduan yang tidak tepat. Benda ni banyak datang daripada hearsay punya komplain. Maksudnya orang yang komplain bukan adalah orang yang experience benda tu. Dia bukan nampak dengan mata kepala dia sendiri daripada kilang itu. Bila kita siasat, oh saya dengar daripada Facebook page contohnya. Contohnya macam tu, kita tak maulah. Bila saya tanya detail, dia tak boleh nak jawab. Itu maklumat atau aduan yang tidak tepat. Dan kita perlukan juga masyarakat sumber maklumat yang boleh dipercayai. Reliable sources untuk benda-benda macam ni lah. Contohnya, bila kita kata Sungai Petani ini tercemar, betul lah? Sungai Petani ini tercemar. Kita tengok indeks pencemaran udara. Dari mana kita nak dapat indeks pencemaran udara? Ialah daripada website Jabatan Alam Sekitar. Itu ialah autoriti yang mengeluarkan indeks pencemaran udara IPU di seluruh Malaysia dan boleh dapat directly from that website. Dan banyak kali jadi bila orang buat komplain, dia screenshot IPU daripada third party sources walaupun bawah tu ditulis sumber jabatan website Jabatan Alam Sekitar. Tapi pada tarikh dan masa yang dia komplain itu sebenarnya indeks kualiti udara sebenarnya okey. Ini yang kita tak mahu, sumber maklumat yang dipercayai sahaja yang boleh digunakan. Kalau tidak, dia akan mengelurukan penguatkuasa kami ni. Pergi ke kilang yang salah, kita pergi ke punca yang tak betul. Jadi kita tidak strike at the target lah sebenarnya. Itu sebenarnya pemahaman masyarakat. Dan sekarang ini bila 2019, 2020, 2021, cabaran yang paling utama bagi kami adalah COVID-19. Ini sebenarnya gambar sebenar lah sebenarnya. Gambar sebenar apabila tim saya masuk kilang, rupanya ada mass testing. Nak pergi kilang ni ada mass testing. Rupanya kami tak masuk lah sebab ada mass testing daripada KKM balik. Rupanya ada kluster di kilang tersebut. Di Sungai Petani, daerah Kuala Muda, kalau ada negeri Kedah, mostly case COVID adalah datang daripada Kuala Muda iaitu Sungai Petani. Dan banyak kilang-kilang yang ni ada kluster-kluster. Jadi yang ini sedikit sebanyak mengekang kami punya kerja-kerja penguatkuasaan. Okey, selesai berkenaan dengan cabaran. Saya rasa saya teruskan dengan cooperation between government agencies. Sebenarnya ada banyak government agency. Bila kita sebut tadi, government agency ada banyak. Bila kita cerita berkenaan dengan kilang recycle plastik atau recycle waste lah, kita ada banyak government agency yang terlibat. Bukan sahaja Jabatan Alam Sekitar. Yang pertama sekali adalah local authority. Local authority sebenarnya bukan sahaja dia pegang lesen. Yang itu kena ingat. Lesen itu salah satu tugas local authority di bawah Akta Kerajaan Tempatan 1976. Kita panggil Akta 171. Bawah tu ada undang-undang kecil. Undang-undang kecil pelesenan, trade, perniagaan, industri, something like that. Okey, itu salah satu undang-undang kecil di bawah Akta Kerajaan Tempatan. Tapi dia ada akta-akta lain yang mana dikuatkuasakan oleh local authority seperti Akta Jalan Parit dan Bangunan 1974. Ini Akta 133. Akta Perancang Bandar dan Desa Akta 176, Akta 172. Ini semua akta-akta yang digunakan oleh local authority. Jadi kalau kita kata premis tidak berlesen, bukan saja lesen kita kena tengok, ada juga akta-akta lain yang kena tengok. Maksudnya bukan lesen saja. Kita tengok juga agensi lain. Agensi lain SW Corp melalui bosnya di Ibu Pejabat Jabatan Pengurusan Sisa Pepejal Negara. Yang ini apabila melibatkan sisa pepejal yang saya sebut tadi, Akta 672, Akta Pengurusan Sisa Pepejal dan Pembersihan Awam. Yang ni dikuatkuasakan di negeri oleh SW Corp. Di Kedah ada SW Corp, ada negeri yang tidak menerima pakai Akta 672 ini tidak mempunyai SW Corp lah. Dan urusan import ekspor semua sebenarnya kelulusan oleh JPSPN di Ibu Pejabat. Just bukan memberi kelulusan kepada plastic waste, sisa pepejal yang masuk. Bila kita sebut sisa pepejal sebenarnya tuan punya dia adalah sisa Jabatan Pengurusan Sisa Pepejal Negara bawah KPKT. Dan bila kita cerita juga di Sungai Petani ni, saya mendapat kerjasama yang baik daripada polis Diraja Malaysia. Di daerah Kuala Muda ni lah ada beberapa kita buat kerjasama operasi bersepadu dengan PDRM. Dan PDRM juga ni kalaulah melibatkan premis barang lusuh. Premis barang lusuh memerlukan permit khas daripada PDRM untuk beroperasi. Ini premis barang lusuh lah bawah akta saya pun tak ingat nama akta dia. Okey, seterusnya bila kita melibatkan import ekspor, yang bila kita cerita pasal plastik ni ramai yang bertanya berkenaan dengan plastik import. Jadi import yang menjaga pintu pagar negara adalah custom. Walau bagaimanapun bukan semua bidang tugas custom dia ada kelulusan-kelulusan yang dia kena dapat dahulu sebelum masuk. Custom tukang jaga pagar, tukang jaga gate sahaja, tapi kelulusan-kelulusan ialah agensi lain. Jadi yang inilah. Ada juga agensi yang lain, contohnya MITI. Yang ini juga membantu kami. Sekarang ni MITI sangat famous. Bila kita cerita pasal COVID-19, kilang nak beroperasi, kena ada kelulusan MITI. MITI sangat famous lah sekarang ni. Jadi ni semua local authority yang memberi kerjasama dengan Jabatan Alam Sekitar Cawangan Sungai Petani. Jadi kalau ada soalan-soalan nak bertanya, saya hanya boleh jawab di kawasan saya saja. Jangan tanya satu Kedah, saya tak boleh jawab satu Kedah. Saya hanya boleh menjawab untuk soalan-soalan di Sungai Petani sahaja. Jadi bila kita tengok ini untuk government agency, kita tengok apa pula dengan local community. Di Jabatan Alam Sekitar Sungai Petani ini, local community sebenarnya ada. Kita engage local community. Kalau kita tengok di sebelah kiri itu sebenarnya ahli majlis datang jumpa saya bawa pengadu di sebuah taman berkenaan dengan kilang. Jadi ada isu-isu yang kami bincangkan di situ. Gambar yang tengah pun sama juga dengan pengadu. Untuk yang tak tahu, kadang-kadang saya pergi jumpa pengadu di waktu malam, kadang 2-3 pagi pun ada. Ikut pada waktu aduan. Kadang-kadang aduan datang pukul 6 pagi, 6:30 pagi, saya turun ke kawasan tu, saya telefon juga pengadu kan. Jadi sebenarnya we are engaging the local community sebenarnya. Cuma apa yang community boleh bagi kita, satu itulah memberi kita maklumat. Memberi kita maklumat. Kita akan bantu juga. Tapi tak semua macam tadilah kita sebut, tak semua benda yang diadu tu adalah bidang kuasa jabatan. Kita akan cuba salurkan kepada saluran yang betul. Dan apa lagi yang komuniti boleh buat? Contohnya EIA, laporan penilaian kesan kepada alam sekitar. Ada setengah laporan yang memerlukan komen daripada komuniti. Jadi saya alur-alurkan kalau laporan EIA itu perlu untuk komen komuniti, bagi komen. Jadi masukkan dalam tu, boleh baca laporan EIA, letakkan komen satu-satu di situ. Saya rasa tak ada masalah dekat situ. Dan satu perkara lagi yang saya rasa komuniti perlu tahu adalah bila kita sebut the ineffective of enforcement sebenarnya. Dia ada dua isu. Bila orang Puyi sebut berkenaan dengan corruption, macam mana boleh masuk waste macam ni? Sebenarnya bila kita tengok waste boleh masuk, kita bersangka bahawa ada corruption. Itu adalah sangkaan kita. Tapi adakah kita nampak ada corruption tersebut? Jadi sebab itulah kebanyakan NGOs ataupun public, dia report to SPRM. SPRM tidak mempunyai evidence untuk prosecute them at the court of law. Sebab tak ada evidence. Komplain hanya berdasarkan hearsay evidence. Contoh macam tu lah. Jadi bila yang berlaku sebenarnya, apa yang kita nampak adalah ineffective of enforcement. Jadi public sepatutnya bukan melapor pada SPRM. Public sepatutnya melaporkan kepada satu agensi lain, nama dia Suruhanjaya Integrity Agency Penguatkuasaan, SIAP. Suruhanjaya Integrity Agency Penguatkuasaan yang mempunyai akta Suruhanjaya, arahan Suruhanjaya lah, Akta Suruhanjaya, Akta 700. Jadi untuk Suruhanjaya ni sebenarnya dah beberapa kali dah turun Sungai Petani ni. Tapi dia punya finding adalah Sungai Petani telah menjalankan tugas mengikut SOP yang ditetapkan. Jadi sebenarnya kami buat kerja kami, ada kekangan-kekangan kami, iaitu adalah macam-macam kekangan kami, dan saya pun mohon maklum pada publik supaya memahami kami. Ada juga agensi-agensi yang lain yang sepatutnya dirujuk. Contoh macam bila ada soalan tanya berapa banyak waste yang masuk ke negeri Kedah, saya tak boleh jawab benda tu sebab dia melibatkan solid waste. Bila solid waste, kena tanya pada SW Corp, JPSPN. Macam itulah contohnya. Dan apa yang saya nak tunjuk sebenarnya untuk hari ini, sebenarnya satu kes. Saya nak tunjuklah satu kes di Sungai Petani. Saya nak tunjuk. Ini adalah bilangan aduan yang diterima oleh Jabatan Alam Sekitar Sungai Petani. Sejak 2018, 2019, 2020, nampak ada trend peningkatan. 2020 ni paling tinggi lah. Lebih kurang 500 setengah macam tu. Nak cecah ke 600. Jadi setiap hari pasti akan ada aduan pada tahun 2020. Jadi bila kita cek balik sebenarnya aduan ni banyak daripada mana? Bila kita zoom kepada Kuala Muda, sebenarnya yang paling banyak adalah datang daripada jenis aduan udara. Udara lah, sama ada pembakaran terbuka, kilang plastik, tapak sampah terbakar, semua itu. Jadi kalau kita tengok sebenarnya dia datang daripada satu aduan kilang membakar plastik. Yang ni saya sebut tadi tu. Bila public complain, ada kilang membakar plastik, kilang ABC Sdn Bhd, dekat dengan rumah dia. Bila kilang membakar plastik, dia komplain dengan Jabatan Alam Sekitar. Jadi kita pun buatlah satu penguatkuasaan kepada kilang-kilang plastik di Sungai Petani. Kilang recycle plastik lah, ada banyak lah. Tapi sekarang ni dah berkurangan sangat. Jadi sebenarnya apa yang kita buat, bila maklumat itu tidak tepat, aduan itu tidak berkurangan. Aduan itu tak berkurangan. Jadi ada kilang-kilang bila dah tutup, walaupun kilang tu dekat dengan rumah dia tutup, aduan still masuk kepada Jabatan Alam Sekitar. Bila dia masuk pada jabatan, saya rasa something wrong. Bila kita tengok aduan membakar plastik, pengadu ni memberi sekali dengan bacaan. Contohnya di rumah dia ada bacaan PM10, PM2.5. Perlu diingatkan, kilang-kilang kita semula plastik ni, dia bukan membakar, macam tadi, dia hanya buat melting dan dia tidak menyebabkan sampai berjerebu satu Sungai Petani, menyebabkan PM10, PM2.5 akan spike tinggi. Tidak. Kalau ada PM10, PM2.5, bila kita study balik, ini mesti berdasarkan ada satu pembakaran. Pembakaran yang betul bakar lah, bukan melting tadi. Rupanya bila kita pergi buat rondaan malam dan sebagainya, kita ada bau. Bau dia bukan bau plastik, bau dia adalah bau kayu yang terbakar. Lepas tu bila kita tengok, ada public confused sama ada plastik tu terbakar, plastik itu melting ataupun kayu yang terbakar. Ada 3 jenis bau ni yang menyebabkan dia tak boleh bezakan, menyebabkan kami penguatkuasa ni menguatkuasa ke punca yang tak betul. Bila bau terbakar, tu saya tahu bau kayu, jadi bulan 9 tahun lepas kita buat satu operasi ke kilang-kilang berasaskan kayu di Bukit Selambau. Bulan 9 pada tahun 2020. Dan sebab itulah pada tahun ini aduan dah berkurangan. Itu yang kita tengoklah. Bila bulan 9 tu kita tengoklah. Ini adalah satu keratan akhbar lah, 23 September 2020. Kilang ni memang membakar kayu. Untuk buat arang kayu contohnya. Dia bukan satu lah, lebih pada 1 kilang lah dekat sana. Jadi bila kita buat macam tu, barulah masalah ini selesai. Dan kalau kita tengok data tadi, 2021 punya data aduan baru 100 aduan. Berbanding dengan 2020 untuk 1 tahun 500,500. 2021 baru 100 sehingga bulan 7. Jadi boleh nampaklah perbezaan dia tu sebenarnya. Okay, saya rasa itu saja daripada saya. Habis. Okey. Terima kasih. Saya serah kembali pada moderator. Panjang pula saya cakap. Thank you.
Okay. Terima kasih Encik ya. Kerana berkongsi tentang tindakan yang diambil oleh JAS Sungai Petani. So we would like to hear now from Ms. Lydia Ong. She is the former president of the Environmental Action Association, Persatuan Tindakan Alam Sekitar Sungai Petani. Jadi Ms. Lydia will be sharing with us the experiences and challenges of the communities living close to recycling factories. So as Cik Ya informed earlier, it's not bakar sampah, but there could be air pollution from the chimneys of the recycling factories or also other factories. Okay, so Ms. Lydia, please share your experiences with the communities in Sungai Petani. Thank you.
Okay. Magawari, good afternoon, everyone. Since 2008, 2008, Sungai Petani already facing air pollution, but not so serious compared to 2009. 2008 is because from the Tesco Selatan, beside Tesco Selatan, there are 2 plywood factory. One is Central Kedah Plywood Factory. One is Nam Eng Plywood, all right? So this factory always polluted air pollution to the bakar arang, especially Cik Tom, sekolah menengah Cik Tom, my former school. And 2009 onwards, when the imported way recycle factory was take action by the government in Jejarum, and I think all these factory moved up to the north to Sungai Petani. And of course, in Seberang Perai Tengah a lot, now YBP Bumpo, Seberang Perai Tengah a lot, this recycle factory, and it's an imported waste from overseas, and for sure it's from China. Why? Because a lot of international media came to Sungai Petani in year 2009. And one of them is CBC from Canada. They went into one factory in Sungai Petani Bakar Arang, and they find out even though they have AP, but they illegal running the recycle waste factory. Okay. And of course, this factory, at the end of the day, they closed down. And the other is still running until today, non-stop. Even today, I just came back from Metro Specialist, all right? When I come down from my car, it's all burning smell, burning with chemical smell in Cik Ya. Taman Intan, Taman Mewah is a serious COVID area in Sungai Petani now. Air pollution make worse the COVID situation in Kuala Lumpur. Last 2 days, his friend in Sungai Petani show the picture is burning. A big dark air from Laguna Merbok. I think that's burning is from the Semeling side. You know the Semeling landfill, Mr. Ya? Semeling landfill is 365 days burning. And I believe that this recycle factory, they still dumping their waste in this landfill. And a lot of Hindu bottle is taking out this recycled waste to burn day and night. Especially at metro specialist, there's one Hindu bottle. You can check the air quality surrounding the metro specialist. I don't know why you say the air is good, but here when we're using the air, how to say, from London, that's a London, they brought back to us the air device, all right? It shows that PM 2.5 some night is over 100 over. It's very harmful for the health of the people. And since so many international media came to SP to take all the video, they came back, only one BBC managed to push the Britain government to stop export their waste to Malaysia. Canada, they still, all right? Germany, France, they still sending. And all the answer give to me from Bukit Aman is all from China. Chinese men run this business. We went to Bukit Aman to make the report last 2009. So don't say that this is not causing by this burning thing. They dump to the Kelapa Sawit, they dump to the rural area, kampung, and they burn. Because they don't want to spend money to through all the proper channel to dispose all these waste. And until today, Petani, especially my taman in Tan Taman Mewah, every day and night, you can smell the burning smell. It's not burning from the sampah down or batang kayu. It's all chemical. And I believe Bakar Arang now is EMCO, they cannot do, but they have other place like Bukit Semarak that side, Taman Semarak that side, a lot of recycled waste factory without license is still running day and night. The Swapatani people already fed up with the government. We've been fighting for almost 2 years. Dr. Teo, Metro Specialist Clinic Bersatu, Dr. Teo, me and all my sahabat, you know, we almost give up. Until today, the issue is still there. No, not solving the problem. I have to sell my house. I already sold my house. And I moved to Penang. That's the only choice I can save my life because COVID is very serious in Kuala Muda today. The red zone in Kedah is Kuala Muda. The highest case is in Petani. And Taman Intan is the highest among other taman. And you understand that COVID is airborne. If the air contains too high PM 2.5, do you think that this COVID virus attached to the air and fly everywhere? My house is, I spray water, is all dust, black dust, even my car. You just park one night. You use tissue paper to mop the window, you can see a black small dust that is all burning waste. EMCO, you still can see the burning smoke, smell everywhere in this Sumpatan. You check the page from the Persatuan Tindakan Alam Sekitar, people always share the video, the photo, asking for help. Dok marah, banyak, bukan kita saja, banyak rakyat di Sumpatan ini marah. At night, morning, dia kata bau asap, bau bakar plastik, bau chemical. Tak tahu mengapa EMCO macam tak ada tu. So, for me, I already done everything that I can. Email complaint to JAS in federal, to the Menteri, to you also, yeah, to YB, Dr. Robert Ling, that he is the one, but me, invite me. Actually, he is the one invite me to join the Persatuan in year 2009, April 10. Because he knows it's very serious. That time, he's still just Sidam YB, not yet ASCO. Now today he is an ESCO, but today the problem is still there, cannot settle. YBP in Bukit Tengah, Bukit Minyak, Jurus, a lot of recycle factory. And I have the info from the local government in year 2019. Is that 2019? Yeah. 404 recycle factory, actually they write plastic factory, not recycle, plastic factory in Seberang Perai. Only 14 I think is illegal, 390 is legal. Teruk, lagi teruk daripada Sungai Petani. Sungai Petani, most of them, only 2 or 3 factory got AP. Others, no AP, they run without AP. And many of them is illegal. They don't have license at all. But why until today, the authority cannot close down all these factories? And the 2 plywoods at Tesco Selatan, day and night burning, the asap keluar daripada dia punya chimney itu hitam, kadang-kadang putih. But I complained since 2018 until today, no action was taken against these 2 plywood beside, side by side beside Tesco Selatan. And in year 2018 or 2019, YB Simon Ui, the ex-exco of Negeri Kedah of JAF, reply me, this Kedah Central Plywood is without license. They're running the plywood factory without license, but until today, still working. So a lot of question mark. The people is asking, what happened to our government department? Why no action was taken against all these illegal factory, day and night polluted our air? You say it's not too harmful to the people just now because with your JAF, device. But you know what? In Metro and Pantai Hospital, Dr. Teo give us a data. Increasing of lung, issue like bronchitis, asthma, more than 80%. Increasing of skin allergy like eczema. Now a lot of children with all the skin allergic issue, more than 80%. No, this did not happen last 2018. After 2018, skin allergic among children or even me, I'm also facing skin allergic after 2 years air pollution in asthma. I'm facing very serious skin allergy. I need to take anti-inflammatory and anti-itchy every night pill. Not me only, a lot of my female friends also. Bronchitis and asthma among children and senior citizens increasing. This is I'm worried because coming COVID, this scenario getting worse. Human beings need clean air, clean water to survive in this world. But we are facing air pollution, PM 2.5 higher than healthy level. Is that our water infection was infected by this pollution? Because when we found Kampung Pembumbung at Sidam, they throw all the e-waste, all the waste into the quarry pasiat, lubang-lubang tu semua. Until the water only, I think 6 miles, I think from the Kampung Pembumbung is our Penang Tunggal YBP, Penang Tunggal air treatment plant. Okay, so along the river Sungai Muda to Keprapatas, Penang Tunggal is all paddy field YBP. I don't know our paddy, is affected or not by this polluted water from the landfill. I think our Sungai Muda river already polluted with this dumping imported waste. When I saw that Kampung Pembumbung, I say I give up because it's already among my ability. It's only government. The Kedah government, the Malaysia government, the Penang government have all the right and the power to stop all this nonsense in Malaysia. Today, I'm very sad to tell you, Jejarum, the first place, was affected by this pollution. A lot of people now suffer cancer. Hua Li Peng, the secretary of Persatuan Tindakan Jejarum, her cousin sister was fall sick of cancer, brain cancer, and herself also got tumor. He also got tumor, but luckily it's not too toxic. So at the end of the day, people are falling sick, Mr. Ya, YBP, of this air pollution, causing a lot of problem to the health of the people. That's only one I want to express. I'm worried about my hometown people, especially the children. You can see they're bleeding. When air is sangat teruk, you can smell the burning plastic chemical smell. My friend Gente, her daughter, only now 7 years old, was bleeding, nose bleeding. Rini Ng is still need to use the asthma support because she's still facing asthma until today. Cannot recover. This is what happened in Kedah, Swatan.
Okay, thank you, Lydia. Thank you very much for sharing your experience from the ground. So we can see that the communities are truly very affected from the pollution. And as you mentioned, there has been an increase of health problems among the communities.
Yes.
So we would have about 15 minutes of question and answer sessions. We have seen there's a lot of questions in the chat box, and Puyi had already responded to quite a number of the chats. So I would now have to select a few of the questions, to get response from the panelists. Okay, one question from the C4's FB from Li Ting Pan was in terms of, was there any action taken by the Malaysian government to take action against the countries who send the waste illegally to Malaysia? So does our government call the embassy of the country to highlight these measures or to carry out further investigation in the origin country? What are the actions that can be taken? Can they sue the company who sent the waste to Malaysia? So we would like to know who would be able to respond to that question. Probably JAS.
Okay, I'll take that question. I think I had presented earlier the flow. Actually, if the waste has been imported illegally, of course, DOE as the competent authority will notify the origin country, and we will issue also the directive for the waste to be sent back or to be sent legally to other countries. So that is the action that we will take. And if the importer fails to send it, we can also take further action depending on what waste is that. For example, if it's scheduled waste, we can take action under 34B, Section 34B, Environmental Quality Act, with the penalty, maximum penalty of 500,000, and also maximum 5 years of imprisonment, which I had personally done when I was in Johor. And for your information, Cik Ya was my staff when we were in Johor, so we were together. I think, Puan Lydia, I understand your frustration very much. I understand it very much, but I have to tell you that Cik Ya is a very good officer. You are very lucky to have him. Okay, if you don't want him, you can send him to Penang. But I know it's not very easy to tackle all the environmental problem. In fact, in Penang itself, you mentioned also the case of Penang. Yes, we had so many open burning complaints. In fact, last year we had about 600 plus, and this year till July we had close to 400 cases, and we try to educate people. In fact, when I noticed that the weather was not very good, we immediately released statement to papers, telling people try not to burn waste, but this is what we can do. But and there's a limit to what we can do. We try to educate, and I really hope that the people will really start to think of their own role. You know, while they complain about burning, there are some group who are still not, who can't be bothered. You know, but Puan Lydia, I hope we could assist you also on this issue, yeah. And I think for Penang and Kedah, since we are very close, Sungai Petani and also Penang very close, we will work together on environmental problems related to Penang and Sungai Petani. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Puan Sharifah.
Yeah.
Thanks. So I can see Pradeep Nambiar has raised his hand. So can you turn on your video and mic, Pradeep, to ask your
Yes,
question?
hi. My name is Pradeep. I'm a journalist with FMT. My question is for Mr. Ya. Just quite surprised by his explanation on the difference between smelting plastic and also bakar plastic, so bakar and smelting. So the question is, in real life, of course, the API, the air quality index seems to be quite okay. However, in real life, if you were to stand in some streets in Sungai Petani, you can actually smell some kind of toxic smell. And how do you explain what Dato Lydia is going through? You can get soot, you can feel soot on the floor, on the car. How do you explain that? That is one question. And another question for our Penang JAS director, perhaps we could explain these 400 complaints on air quality. Where are these hotspots? What are they burning actually? And can we find out? Can we use like radar mapping to detect heat zones so we can have like some kind of preemptive enforcement on these kind of sites? So those are my questions for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Pradeep for your questions. Cik Ya, ada juga soalan daripada chat box tadi, C4FB. Samanya soalannya, bagaimana pihak JAS pastikan sistem air pollution control di kilang plastik adalah berfungsi dengan baik, dan kerana bau busuk semakin pada waktu malam. Jadi sama saja soalan seperti yang diajukan oleh Cik Pradeep.
Okey, terima kasih dekat soalan tu lah. Bila kita tengok tadi, soalan dia berkenaan dengan melting plastik, bakar plastik. Dia ada dua perkara yang berbeza. Bila kita tengok bakar plastik, sure, dia hasilkan asap. Dan asap dia kita boleh nampak dengan mata. Bila kita sebut melting plastik bau dia localized. Dekat kilang sahaja bau. Kalau habis-habis pun kita pergi kilang, itu saja bau. Dia takkan transfer daripada contoh Bukit Selambau sampai ke kawasan Sungai Petani. No, takkan jadi macam tu. Yang akan propagate jauh itu adalah PM10, PM2.5. Sebab itu kalau kita tengok, yang itu yang bau, yang tinggi spike dekat dalam data-data, contohnya ada orang bagi PM10, PM2.5, itu yang ada. Bila kita sebut toxic smell, what is toxic smell sebenarnya? Dia mesti ada benda lain. Dan sebenarnya kalau Sungai Petani, siapa yang duduk Sungai Petani ni semua maklum. Ada bau getah sebenarnya. Mungkin orang tersilap bau getah dengan bau itu. Macam kita lah, kasut kita getah pun ada bau. Contoh getah lah. Sebab benda tu adalah natural product. Jadi saya tak ada masalah dengan benda tu lah. Jadi bila kita cerita macam mana kita pastikan air pollution control system berfungsi dengan baik. Itu soalan yang tadilah. Bila kita sebut air pollution control system, kita ada peraturan khusus untuk govern this air pollution control system. Dia bukan sahaja pasang tinggal, tidak. Dia ada peraturan dia. Dan peraturan itu daripada pemasangan, notification, design, monitoring, performance monitoring, apa dia kena buat, competent person yang kena jaga dia, ada macam-macam peraturan. There are mechanism to that. Maksudnya bukan sahaja dia boleh buat tanpa ada kawalan. Jadi kalau ada peraturan, kita akan kontrol benda itu mengikut peraturan yang ada. Cuma bila kita ada isu-isu yang lain, bila kita bercerita dengan contoh tadi macam license kan. License tu datang pada mana? Jabatan Alam Sekitar kah? Atau agensi lain? Yang itu kita kena tengok. Jadi kalau agensi lain, maknanya dia bukan bidang kawalan Jabatan Alam Sekitar. Yang itu pun kena faham. Jadi saya rasa itu saja untuk menjawab soalan tu. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Cik Ya and Puan Sharif.
Okay. A question on the open burning tadi kan. Okay. You know, for up to 30th June 2021, we have about 374 cases of open burning, where actually 72% of this came from pembakaran sampah sarap, open burning, sampah sarap, and 13% from sisa-sisa pembersihan di kebun. So basically, these are done by public lah. Either I'm not sure what is happening because as far as I know, Penang should have a full service of municipal service collection. So I'm not sure whether people just simply enjoy burning, and then of course, if we want to be strict, we can penalize them by issuing compound, which we had done on several occasions. But yes, but of course, we know that some people are not very happy with this also because the compound is very high actually for household, 2,000 ringgit. So as what Cik Ya said, we have to think what is the root cause of the problem? What is the root cause of the open burning? I think generally lack of awareness of the public. They don't bother about their neighbors. And another thing is maybe we also need to look at the issue of waste collection. Okay, and this is of course relate to the function of the local authority. Okay, I think that's all. Mr. Pradeep, I hope I had answered your question.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Puan Sharifah, for the explanation.
Puan Mengahi, Madam, sorry.
Yes, sorry, YB, I'm going to address this question to you. Any move to adopt the multi-door approach to the enforcement of laws, since these culprits usually also infringe on other laws, company law, immigration, tax, corruption. So probably you could also respond to that question. Thank you.
Okay, I think stick with the plastic one and I come to the question you're going to ask. Now, I always believe that we solve the problems at source. The source is that all this waste plastic comes from the country of origin into Penang, into Malaysia. I've written officially to the Minister of Environment stating that no AP to be issued until and unless the JAS locally and the City Council approve. We are not taking away your right, but we are enforcing what you have the disrupted killing 9/99, that the local council must be consulted. But this was part and parcel of the 8th Earth Summit, which is that the stakeholders, and the stakeholders are the local authorities. We have said that we have got to be satisfied that the factory is in an industrial zone. It must have a buffer zone from the housing estate. They must have all the proper control in terms of the water management, air quality management. All this must satisfy. And they can only import 70% of their capacity. And the balance 30% must be from the local waste. That must be B. We have expressed very clearly, we only want pre-consumer waste, not municipal waste. Pre-consumer, which is that all these are clean waste. We want the country of origin to certify that in this container, these are all clean waste. So this will eradicate away all the problems of negotiation of sending back the containers, which we faced so badly in this 2019. We have got a series of meetings with the foreign embassy where the containers come from, and we brought them to the MBCT to have a look at the waste themselves, and they fully agree. Most unfortunately, whether this has followed through or not, I'm not aware. I have got to admit, I'm not aware because the change of government. And so far as the local government is concerned, there was a question posted why the local council and JS is approving more and more of these recycling factories. The answer is no. JS did not, because JS have never been involved in issuing approval for factories, except the approval for EIA. We have got to be fair to them. In point of fact, the cooperations between JS Penang and JS Kedah have been so close because we need to work together as a team, and we share informations, and that's why there are so many these scheduled waste being recovered, even in Kedah, through the close cooperation between Kedah and Penang. Now, in our operation, we always go for joint operation. Joint operation means all agencies are involved. We also look at who are the landowners, because the landowners are also stakeholders. If it's your land, you allow them to build a factory illegally, that means you benefited from the illegal operations. You are as guilty as them. We talk about the directors and the major shareholders. And in every operations which we go for today, in any industry, we usually give them a show cause letter why the license will not be withdrawn. So I hope that will also answer your questions, this Madam Moderator. So we talk about at source. At source is the only way to eradicate all these things. If no, we can always argue until the cow comes home. The answer is still absolute.
Yes, thank you, YB. We have Mr. Amalan who had raised his hand.
Sorry, maybe I can also add one more thing. I think in terms of the permit, they are issued by the KPKT. So for the plastic importation, yeah. So it's not by DOE. In fact, if we would be very happy if no permit is being issued, because there will be less work for us to control. And in terms of the approval for the factories, actually for EIA, yes, we are responsible, and we have a committee where we call in the local council, where we also ask for their inputs. And without a policy set to say that recycle factory for imported waste cannot be done, we cannot reject the report if the report fulfills everything. So we have to see at what level DOE are involved. Basically, DOE are only involved at the end of the chain, yeah, because we are only approving the EIA, but the permit is with another ministry, and then also the license with another agency. Okay, so only looking at the technical part of the operation of the premise, and if they don't comply, yes, we should be taking action. Okay.
In point of fact, I'm proud of JS Penang. That even those factories that license have been issued, and because of complaint, we went down to investigate, and the complaint is true. They did not have proper water filtration system. Well, this factory was here before this Kuntara came in, years before I came in. And we immediately issued a stop work order. We even received phone calls from people above us. I'm just asking, give me a written memo. Then we consider, failing which, sorry, we stand firm. The people of Penang is more important than whoever you are up above us. And this is how JS in Penang work. And I assure and reassure you, we hold on to that principle. We may not be popular, but we want to do the right job. Check the facts and figures. I stand by what I've said.
Thank you, Tuan Pigunpo and all the panelists. Since we are running out of time, we would like to now invite Puan Meenakshi Raman, who will be giving the closing remarks, and hopefully through what she's saying, she can address some of the questions that has been raised in the chat. Nina, please.
Marquez, I did not look at all the questions, so I'll try to do my level best. But what questions did you have that was not answered?
I think probably your recommendations.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Respond to all these questions.
Yeah. So thank you very much to the panel members and also to C4. I think, I mean, judging from the number of people who were on this Zoom call, we had at one time 105 people, and now we have about close to 100. And there's also people watching on Facebook Live of SAM and also C4. So it's quite amazing that there's phenomenal interest on this issue. So it's very good that this is the reception we are getting to this very difficult issue. Just a couple of pointers that I'd like to make at this time. I think the speakers have already given you a very thorough overview of where the source of the problem is. But I think what is very clear is that there is a challenge with plastic waste, that much of it cannot be recycled. And because the shipments are often highly contaminated and non-recyclable. So the problems caused by the international waste trade, as we have seen, cannot be solved by the importing countries alone. And so the Basel Convention is one mechanism to actually require global collaboration. And for some of our recommendations, developed countries must take responsibility for their own waste at home. And we need to stop waste colonialism by banning waste trade. What is shocking is that until today, the United States, as was pointed out by Puan Sharifah, is not a party to the Basel Convention. So can you imagine that? And so you have a country like this, it is actually exporting their dirty waste to cheaper, because it is cheaper to dump in poorer countries. And many years ago, we recall that prior to the Basel Convention, at that time, it was Larry Summers who was the Treasury Secretary, and also at one time was the World Bank President. He actually said that it's cheaper to dump toxic waste on the poorer countries because it is, much easier for countries like theirs. So this is really waste colonialism at the highest. So at the international level, we should be campaigning for the United States to be a party, and that is really, really very critical. And so we must also ensure that we speed up, that they take this responsibility. And that can only be done with collaboration with international groups, as we are doing in the NGO community. And of course, governments should also continue to do that so that we ensure that they take responsibility. Then we also have to expedite the national ban of imports, like what China has done. What is not good for China surely cannot be good for Malaysia. So there's no rhyme or reason why we shouldn't speed up this effort. And I totally agree with Puan Sharifah that this is the way to go, because we cannot afford to continue to, with whatever measures we take, our hands will be certainly limited, because at the end of the day, they will find all kinds of loopholes to continue to cause the problem on us. So we do need a national ban. And until a ban is implemented nationally, we need to ensure transparency for plastic waste imports and ensure that the imported waste are managed in a manner that minimizes harm to the public health and the environment. Now, it was very heart-rending to hear what Lydia had to say. There are many, many, many communities in the front line who have been sacrificing their health. And we in SAM and also C4 and other CSO communities for a long time have been fighting, like firefighters on the ground. And at the end of the day, it is quite a losing battle, because what you actually see is that they pay with their health. And this is really not the way to go. So we need to reinforce monitoring and enforcement capacity to tackle the illegal waste trade. Now we heard Ms. Inche Ya say 9 people, technical people, to take care of 3 districts and 1,000 sources of pollution. I mean, this is incredible. You cannot expect them to be doing, this kind of a job. It's really, really not the way as well. So what we really need to do is to reinforce the capacity. We have to multiply the resources to the Jabatan Alam Sekitar, and we have to ensure that they're actually in the most hotspots, wherever there are all these hotspots, whether it's the, particularly in communities that are suffering and so on, we do need to reinforce a lot more people in terms of targeted support, so that we ensure that the communities don't have to suffer the way they are suffering. So that is very important. So our enforcement agencies should have the proper facilities, the resources, and work with international monitoring organizations to control at the border. Now, we need to also have measures to combat corruption. I mean, C4 has been saying it, all of us have been saying it. We've been stressing good governance, transparency, and accountability, but this is not easy, but this is something that we have to continue to advocate. It is also very good that the Malaysian government and other recipient countries are repatriating the waste. It's not easy, we know, but nevertheless, we need to monitor and track these shipments to ensure that they are not redirected to other countries. Now, we have to also acknowledge that there are false solutions, such as chemical recycling, plastics to fuels, incineration, co-processing, and cement kilns that encourage trading in plastic waste. And this we must oppose. And we are working with international networks to expose these false solutions and the corporations that are perpetuating it. So ultimately, tackling waste trade requires solid commitment in reducing waste in the first place. So we have seen the frontline community suffering, whether it is legal or whether it's illegal plastic burning, there are serious health effects. The other thing is that we should not be promoting dirty industries. What we are hearing from Lydia is just a tip of the iceberg. So why are we promoting dirty industry? So we should not be encouraging in any of our, nationally, industries which are actually very, very toxic to communities. So at the end of the day, it's about breaking free from plastics, and we work towards zero waste. I think communities, local communities, NGOs, the state and the authorities must see us as partners, that we are your eyes and ears as well. Many of the local communities are actually activists. And the media too. The media has a fantastic role to play in also exposing the problems in the community. So in conclusion, PUI has a whole load of recommendations in her thesis. We just hope that the thesis doesn't become a thesis which then PUI, you get your doctorate and everybody applauds you, but it must go further than that, that we have to make sure that we end this plastic problem and waste colonialism, export of waste colonialism. So on that note, let me thank C4. Let me thank all the speakers. Of course, Mangesh will thank them as well, I guess. But on behalf of Sahabat Alam Malaysia, I'd like to particularly thank the government officials who have spent their afternoon with us. And as you can see, the interest is there. And what we need to do is really speed up the efforts. So whether it is at the local level, at the state level, at the national level, or at the international level, we have to work with all our friends around the world. So thank you very much, and we hope that the next time we have this session, that Inche Iya will not be alone, that Puan Sharifah has got many, many more people with her, and our state exco is even more able to control all the problems that they are seeing, and there's no more, that we truly have a green state, which is healthy. And so we do hope to organize more meetings like this in the future. So thank you very much on behalf of Sahabat Alam Malaysia.
Okay, thank you very much, Nina, for your closing remarks. Yeah, as we have heard from the panelists and also all the deliberations, unregulated recycling of plastic waste and also its trade, is harming public health and the environment. Right now, what the international networks and groups are doing, they are advocating for a new treaty. It's not only the Basel Convention, because we need a new treaty to address the whole life cycle of plastics. So this is from the production to the consumption, and also to address the existing plastic pollution. So this is in terms of the trade. So as Mina had mentioned, we need to stop the waste colonialism. We need to stop the waste dumping. The developed countries should take responsibility of their own waste. And in the meantime, here in our country also, we will, with the communities, we will have to speed up our efforts in breaking free from plastics and moving towards zero waste. So thank you to all the participants who have also attended this 1.5 hour forum, which has gone a bit 10 minutes later. So thank you all panelists, participants, speakers, paper presenter, Puyi, and C4 and SAM staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Be safe.
We will try to safeguard, Kedah by, safeguarding the pond by doing proper enforcement at the pond.